Welcome to this Tutor to You Sociology topic video focusing on beliefs in society, focusing on Existential Security Theory. In an extensive study of religious practices, Norris and Inglehart studied secularization on a global scale by analysing surveys measuring religious practice and identification over a period of 20 years from 1981 to 2001. They used recognised scales of religiosity, such as the World and European Value Surveys that measure religious belief. They also drew correlations between the levels of religious belief and the economic and social circumstances of nations, and like many other sociologists, suggested that secularization was a phenomenon associated with post-industrial society, with higher levels of affluence and social security, whilst agrarian societies were less likely to have undergone the process of secularization. However, unlike other theorists, Norris and Inglehart did not suggest that religion would disappear in post-industrial societies. They argued that despite falling religious belief in affluent societies, religion was still required by those that felt the least economically secure. They argued that religion was a form of existential security. Those who could afford the comfort and security of consumerist society would require religion less, while those suffering from deprivation would turn to religion for comfort. It met their existential needs for security. In Western societies with higher levels of individual wealth, there were less existential threats than in the developing world. For individuals in the West, economic and social security was provided through employment and the state, making individuals feel more secure. This includes housing, education, healthcare, and having a longer life expectancy. For those in the developing world, this was not the case, and so they turned to religious practice. In these largely agrarian societies, the role of the state in providing economic security, healthcare, and education was limited. Furthermore, conflicts, natural disasters, poor healthcare infrastructures, and the insecurity of agricultural economy led individuals to feel less secure, and as a consequence, they would turn to religious beliefs to provide that security. Their faith offered them an explanation for their position in society, and this would provide them with a sense of security. For Norris and Inglehart, they concluded, like many others, that secularization was not a global phenomenon, but linked to levels of economic development, something which is borne out by declining church attendance throughout the period of industrialization in Western Europe. Furthermore, Norris and Inglehart's existential security theory explains why there has been a growth in religious belief in agrarian nations. With growing populations and increased security, people turn to religion in order to meet their own personal needs for security. This has seen a shift in religious belief from Western religions towards more Eastern beliefs, with the expansion of non-Christian religions. In evaluating existential security theory, it can be credited for using large-scale quantitative data to measure the levels of attendance and belonging to religious faiths, but has been criticised for failing to objectively measure what existential security is. The extent to which individuals feel secure is highly subjective and based upon a broad range of factors, and Norris and Inglehart failed to measure this accurately. Secondly, it fails to explain the high levels of religious belief in the USA, the world's largest economy, particularly amongst the middle classes. The more affluent in a post-industrial society having high levels of religious belief counters Norris and Inglehart's assertions that it is the poorest that are the most religious. However, Norris and Inglehart's theory does explain the increase in fundamentalism within some of the poorest nations, particularly those that have seen large amounts of conflict, and so has some merit in explaining shifts in religious belief. That concludes this Tutor to You Sociology topic video on beliefs in society, focusing on existential security theory. Thanks for watching.